When you fix one problem, only to reveal another hidden problem that triples the bill. What happened to this Audi? Let's find out. Let's get started. This is a 2011 Audi A4 with the 2.0T. We've been working on a lot of these 2.0s lately. We have another one we might be doing a video on here very soon with another problem with it as well. This one has 180-some thousand miles on it. You'll have to see the exact number with Mrs. Wizard's interior review, but it's getting close to 200,000 miles. And we all know that an Audi A4 is not a 400,000 mile vehicle. Maybe 250. We're getting close to the end of the life. We got bad news on this one. Let's take a look around this A4 and see the condition it's in before we dive in. Here's the front of this A4, and we can see it's denoted in the grille Quattro. It is an all-wheel drive. The body and paint and everything is on this is really in pretty good shape. It's a little dirty, dusty from just driving around, but otherwise there's no rust or anything in dents on this side. It does have the 17-inch wheels on it with some Yokohamas. I do like the rear of Audis. They have beautiful taillights. I think they're some of the best looking cars in the business. And again, on this side, nice paint, not dented or caved in or rusted. Let's go ahead and open the hood. Did you know your engine runs best when you give it the highest quality oil? Cheaping out and putting no-name oil in your car can shorten your engine's life. The same is true for your body. Eating fast food or quick processed foods isn't good for you, but finding the time to just make healthy meals every day seems impossible. That's where Factor, the sponsor of today's video, steps in. They make healthy, clean meals that are shipped directly to your door. How long have you wished to eat healthier and get into better shape? A few weeks, months, or years. It's never too late to start or restart your wellness journey. This isn't like your old school lunches where it was chicken nuggets, pizza, and the mystery meat week after week. Factor makes over 100 rotating weekly meals, salads, breakfast, and shakes, all known for their great taste and nutrition. Plus, their meals are always fresh, never frozen, and each meal is chef-crafted and dietitian approved. Don't worry if you have a food allergy or are on a specific diet, they have specifically designed meals just for you. What we really love about Factor meals is their convenience. We're both super busy and we want to eat healthy meals, but by the time we get home, it's already supper time. Factor makes breakfast, lunch, and supper so easy. We can pick meals that are high protein, calorie smart, low carb, or gourmet plus, and they are ready in just 2 minutes. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CarWizardFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code CarWizardFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Now back to this Audi. This car came in barely running. It sounded like it was running on 2 cylinders, and it was running so rich and so terrible that it would stink up the shop. And it would actually make our eyes water. It was so bad. It was running terrible. We thought, oh no, the engine shot or something terrible is really wrong. What ended up being the problem when we fixed it and alleviated to get it to run better again, only opened a can of worms. We're going to dive into that here in a minute, but let's take a look around the engine bay. We do have some parts removed. We're going to show you some things that we found, but it's fairly easy to work on these. It can be time consuming, but it's not really hard. You can see we have a lot of plastic intake, plastic pipes. That's kind of the name of the game on modern vehicles today. But there is room on either side to work on this. You can really get down to the bottom of the engine almost with your arms, so that's really a plus. So what does the A4 look like on the inside? Is it nice? Is it snazzy? Is it economy? Mrs. Wizard, take it away and show them what it looks like.
Like any good wife, we love the moments that these happen. The Wizard was wrong. It only has 179,192 miles. He was a bit off there. I won't rub it in too much. But nonetheless, dash is looking good, as long as you like the color red, that is. But it's looking good, very easy to read. It's got the speedo and the tack, that's about all we need. The dash is in good condition, looking nice. Got a nice little accent there with some steel going on with a nice little pattern to it. Infotainment screen. We've got our HVAC controls, our radio controls, our automatic gear selector. As we get to our seats, they are rather comfortable. I mean, they've got an interesting kind of a stitch pattern to them, but looking good, looking nice, nothing torn, nothing ripped. Our door card has 3 different sections to it. It has a light kind of area, a kind of a taupe, dark hard plastic area, and then some steel accents. So it's looking nice. Back seat's in good condition, nothing going on back there. Everything's looking nice, as most back seats do. They typically don't get too tore up. Headliner, good condition as well. As we get back to the steering wheel, it looks just as good as everything else in here. May not be overly snazzy, but definitely not quite as utilitarian as some Toyotas tend to be. So we're doing good here, Audi. Let's go and see what you look like on the underneath. Wizard, what are you doing?
I was getting my groove on.
We're doing a video here under an Audi.
Oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that under an Audi. So right here we can see where our radiator core support would be. We'd be looking for coolant dripping out of these holes or this crevice here. Nothing's leaking there. And as we move back, we can look through here and see that the little oil pan is not leaking, the steering rack is not leaking. We see a tiny bit of seepage from the differential there, but I want to show you guys something on this. How do they make this an all-wheel drive? There's no transfer case or anything, and it kind of is, but they run the power through this little tube beside the transmission to a differential that's actually part of the bell housing. And from there, there's a shaft going through the bell housing to the other side for that CV shaft. And then a CV shaft over here. So it's kind of neat the way they do it. Okay, our brakes are about 80% remaining. CV boots are good. Sway bar links are not loose. Struts are not blown over here. On this side, brakes are good. CV boots are good. Nothing leaking. Struts not leaking. Sway bar link is not loose. Then we have a little resonator chamber here as we go back. Can't really see the drive shaft. It's kind of above the exhaust, but I don't feel anything loose there. We come back to the back. Here's our differential. Nothing leaking from there. Here's our fuel tank. And let's check these back wheels. The brakes are about 60% remaining. The shock is not blown. It doesn't really have a strut. The spring is separate over here. Nothing's blown on that. Sway bar link is not blown. CV boots are good. Brakes are 60%. Shock is not blown. Sway bar link is good. I don't see anything leaking back here either. And our single exhaust continues out the back, but at the tips it looks like it has duals, but it's just for looks. Let's check those date codes on those Yokohamas. So these are a few years old. You can see 16th week of 22, but they've got a lot of life left in them, so they still are good. There's no reason to put new tires on this right now. Let's get this thing on the ground and back into the center of the shop here, and let's talk about what we went through and where we ended up. So this is our CCV valve, and it's crankcase vent valve is what that stands for. It sits on top of the valve cover. You guys probably saw it looked like it had a new one put on, and it did. It came in running terrible, and I told Junior Mint who looked at it, get something, remove this vacuum pipe and plug it. And it instantly ran fine again. So it told me that this was bad. And inside of here is a little diaphragm that has cracks and tears all in it. You can see all the debris. The rubber is disintegrating into like a powder. And it's just, there's cracks all where this piece fits down inside of there. It was sucking air really bad. And it made a massive vacuum leak, so bad that it wouldn't even idle. And it was trying to compensate for it. There was all kinds of codes, turbo codes, all these things. And we're like, yeah, there probably is all these codes because this thing is dead. It can barely run. So we replaced it with a new one and 3 new coils because the customer had put 1 new coil on trying to chase it and found out it runs perfect. Great, it was a celebration. And then it wasn't. Let's talk about why. So it's running great, idles perfect, just like a new car. Junior Mint took it out and road tested, make sure it's ready for delivery back to the customer, only for it to go into limp home mode, and it had P0299 turbocharger code. I was like, okay, what did we do wrong here? Maybe we kind of went back through everything we just did. Is there something disconnected, or if something didn't get done right? We did everything perfectly like it's supposed to be. So we cleared the codes, thought maybe it was just residual, went and drove it again, bam, right back into limp home mode. Finally, I got Danielson over to check it over. He's my true diagnostics guy. He's really good. He's about one step away from being a car wizard. He's really getting there. He's going to be, I think, the next car wizard when I finally do retire. Let's take a quick look around the engine bay and show the things he checked to validate and to go ahead and condemn this part. So here we are under the engine bay again. And here's our turbocharger. Right where my screwdriver's wiggling, there's an electrical solenoid called N75 valve. It tested bad. So we put vacuum with a vacuum hose to this diaphragm, the actuator that I'm touching there, and it should move this rod that's down in here. You can see this rod I'm touching right here is the actuator rod. It wouldn't move. Even if we apply our own vacuum to it, it's stuck. Finally, there's one final thing that Danielson did to condemn the turbo. He removed this oxygen sensor and got our Techlon camera down in there to see the backside where the wastegate flap is. It has a bad wastegate actuator, a bad wastegate flap, a bad N75 valve. Everything about this turbo is shot. And it's not surprising with 180,000 miles. Again, Mrs. Wizard corrected me. If you did the interior review, you would have seen her correcting my mileage. It's only 179,000 miles, but still, that's about the life of a turbo anymore. Let me show you some quick paper documentation that we definitely double confirmed that's the problem. We typed in the P0299 code to Identifix, and these are shops all across the country that came to the same conclusion. Replace turbocharger, 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 turbocharger. It just pages and pages and pages. It just keeps going, guys. So with all that information, paperwork that I just showed you, and also the testing that Danielson did, which triple revealed that this turbo is shot, it's done. Now the argument could be made, why can't you just replace the little components and still use the turbo? Put a new wastegate flap, a new actuator, a new N75 valve. You have to take the turbo off to get to the flap. And usually they're walled out and the bushings are shot. The labor is going to be the same, regardless which way you go. You still have to pull the turbo off. It's about 7 hours of labor. And by the time you pay someone to fix it and go through all little pieces, machine bushings and all this thing to get that right, you won't be too far off just replacing the turbo. Why would you put that much money into a customer's car just replacing the small little pieces and give them back their old turbo that may not even have 20,000 miles left on it? You're going to have an angry, angry customer. They're going to be pissed. So that's why we're quoting the whole turbo. So when the customer leaves, it's all brand new, and it can last the rest of the life of this whole car, however long that will be. So by replacing the CCV valve to get the engine to even run right again, only revealed the turbo has been failed all along. The customer did make the comment, he's like, I wouldn't have known that the turbo was good or bad because it's been running so terrible for so long. He's like, I didn't even notice. And the turbo had failed all this time. So to do the CCV valve and the 3 coils and the diagnosis, it was getting $600, $700, $800 range, somewhere around in there. We thought we were done. Now we throw in a $1,200 turbo, 7 hours of labor, we're exceeding $3,000. We let the customer know and say, hey, it is what it is. There was no way to know the turbo was bad until we can get the engine itself running right. And he agreed. He's like, yeah, I get it. He said, I'm going to have to call you back on this one. I don't know if I'm going to keep going on this car with the amount of miles that are on it. He said, I was willing to do the CCV valve and the coils. That sounded good to me. He said, but this turbo situation is really a fine line for me. I may not cross that line. I may just let this car go. I don't know. I'll have to call you back. So we're still waiting on that phone call. Is it worth it to fix this? It's right there on the line. Is this car a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 car? Probably about 4 or 5. With the amount of miles on it, probably a little less. It may cost as much as the car is worth to fix it. It's right there on the line that it might just be worth it. But there again, like the argument I just made, how much life does an Audi at this stage have left in it? Definitely not 200,000 miles. All the things are going to be failing left and right by the time you get to that point. It'll nickel and dime you 500, 1,000, 1,200, 600, and you'll get so tired of it. And most people do, they just ditch them, they dump them. We'll wait to see what the customer wants to do. If they choose to go forth and move forward with the turbo, we'll do it because it's, like I said, it's right there on the line. If there's anything else wrong with it, I would say no, it's probably not worth it. But it does run good. Now we got it running fine, only to see the bill just tripled. Now, can you drive it this way? Not really, because it goes into limp home mode. It's not dangerous, it's not going to hurt the car, but it's so underpowered. It dials back the timing, it dials back a lot of things because it knows the turbo is not working anymore, and it's a dog. It hardly moves. I don't know that it would be dangerous to the engine, but it might be dangerous to traffic because you literally can't get on the highway very fast. So I don't know what the customer's going to do. Again, we're waiting on that phone call, but definitely wanted to get a video out to you guys to show you how where you thought you were at the finish line only to find out that you'd only just begun. It happens that way sometimes, guys. It bees that way. It's kind of annoying for everyone involved. I don't like it any more than the customer does, but it is what it is. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this Audi or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of great holiday gifts there, and a lot of the tools we use in the shop every day, tried and true, are for sale there. And if you purchase any of them, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button before you go because there's so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.